KCAAradio.com.
KCAA. KCAA now presents Crossroads, a program in the public interest, bringing you the issues you need to hear about here in our community. Now here's your host, Mark Westwood.
Good afternoon to you. Good Thursday afternoon to you. Mark Westwood here on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM. Here today with a good guest in the studio. Hello, Wallace Allen.
Great to be here. Glad to be here seeing you, Mark. How's things going?
Good to have you here. And thank you for having me on your show on Sunday morning a couple of weeks back.
Well, I tried to get you on my show this past Sunday, but I guess you were in conference with the National Committee. I was trying to get...
I must have been changing the Band-Aid on my ear.
That was probably the case. I certainly wanted to talk to you about whether that was a big enough Band-Aid for the former president or not, or should it have been big enough to maybe go around to the other ear and maybe kind of cover up his mouth. I don't know.
I said that to somebody. I said, it's a good thing he didn't get shot in the mouth. They'd been all running around the Republican convention with Band-Aids on their mouths. And I went, that might not have been a bad idea.
Well, Mark, a few people have indicated or suggested that this was part of a show. And my take on whether this was real or not is that I don't think that Mr. Trump would trust anyone to shoot straight enough on a plan to shoot him in the ear. I think that...
we had noise or sound effects. I think that's a big conspiracy thing.
Well, Mark, they caught a picture of the bullet.
I didn't see that.
You didn't? Oh, no, there's a picture of the bullet streaking past his head.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, it's an amazing.
Well, I don't
shot.
condone
I don't
political
think you've
violence.
Ever caught a bullet.
I don't think he can condone political violence, and it is sad that it happened one way or the other. I think that he's a darn lucky guy. An AK, an Arma coat, or an Arma lift, they call it, gun. Now everybody says AR is assault rifle. It's Arma lift or something like that. A-15. They have big bullets with big holes, big tips on them, and they make big holes in bodies. If they get you, they're going to put a big hole in your body.
Well, this only nicked him. It only nicked him.
But those bullets tumble end over end over end. And
it could have been even a fragment because some of us are more inclined to believe that. I don't want to get into super conspiracy stuff because I agree. First of all, violence.
There's no place for it.
Yeah, there's no place for it. But then at the same time, you've got places throughout the United States where you open carry, concealed weapon carry. Anybody can get a gun. All you got to do is ask for it and find a place to pay for it. And
do you know? Here's some interesting facts, real quick, before I get into what I was just about to get into because we kind of got sidelined here. They took the ban. They lifted the ban off. The ban actually expired, and they didn't renew it. Of military assault rifles. In 2019. Since that time, you want to make a wild guess how many of those have been sold?
I couldn't even imagine because...
Would you say 1 million? Or more?
I would say probably more.
Yeah? Would you say 5 million?
I don't know. No? Now you're making me think about maybe we should be selling guns. Maybe I'll become a billionaire and then I'll change my ways after I've sold enough guns to...
I know a family has started selling bullets. Kind of close to my family. They're kind of related through a in-law, stepdaughter, adopted thing. They're wealthy now. All they did was sell bullets. But no, 15 million AR assault rifle guns have been sold since 2019. And 1 in 20 people own an assault rifle.
And it sounds like they were probably blessed joyfully by some evangelical preacher.
They run about $400 to about $2,000.
Well, how many wild animals have we found that have been hunted down as a result of this big hunting? I'm sure they just want them to hunt with, Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
the big
have
question is,
anybody brought you any venison lately, or any bear meat or anything like that?
no, because those aren't guns you used to hunt. They are an offensive gun. They're not a gun for defense. The Second Amendment is designed for our defense. It's not designed for us to attack others. There's number one. But number two, and it's just real plain and simple, how are we more safe today than we were in 2019?
Well, let me tell you
less mass murders. No.
Let's talk about how safe JD's grandmother, Mama, felt. I understand that when she died, as they searched her house, they went through her things to secure stuff. They found some, and I think the number I read was 49 handguns.
No, 19.
Oh, well.
19. Maybe they found some more. I don't know.
I don't know either, but
all he's saying is, okay.
She had a gun within arm's length of almost any place that she would be sitting in the house.
Let's think about this. This is the guy with 18 months of experience only in elected office. Okay, now he wants to step up and be president. His Meemaw, as he calls it.
Wait a minute. He's running for vice president. Are you suggesting that he's going to get to be president?
Well, it could happen. That's happened before. But, when I look at a vice president, they got to be ready to be and step up, right? So, his grandma, his Meemaw, was a nut and owned a bunch of loaded guns everywhere.
Loaded.
Lineage. She left them loaded. Lineage. She probably had some sort of a conspiracy syndrome or was paranoid or something like that. Then his mother, he says, I'm making the case for myself. His mother is just 10 years out of rehab. is a substance recovering person who is addicted to alcohol. And he wrote the Hillbilly Elegy. I'm thinking, you're just not making a case for yourself for a real strong lineage to be vice president of the United States. Am I off on this?
Yes and no, because, usually when we talk about somebody's mother, they're around to talk about yours. I mean, that was the way we played the game when I was coming up. So,
well, let me tell you about his gun record here.
Please.
Okay? This is the guy, J.D. Ha-ha, hee-hee, ha-ho, Vance, who sits there and chuckles at every other statement yesterday.
Did you notice how much taller he is than Trump? I am blown out that Trump would allow himself to take a picture with a guy taller than him who works for him and Trump not have something to stand on. I don't think he knew how tall J.D. Vance is.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And I'm not to divert, but that's usually what I do. But I was
okay.
I was just
let me get back on track.
I was just taken aback at that.
You know what I was taken aback by? It was funny. I was watching this. I started to laugh. Okay, J.D. is a couple inches taller than Trump.
Couple of inches. He's at least 2 ears.
Well, I don't know if we're counting the elevator shoes he wouldn't leave behind at the shooting site. But I got to tell you, I saw 3 people standing there together. There was Trump, and there was J.D. a little higher, and then there was little itty bitty Mike Johnson. He looked like a munchkin off the Wizard of Oz.
He looks like Harry Potter series. He looks like he's straight out of the Harry Potter series.
We are the Lollipop Kids.
Yeah.
Lollipop Kids.
And that's a compliment, because I always thought that was a cute little movie, and I'm surprised.
Well, let me get to the facts. Okay, one of the bad things about J.D. Vance is that he is a gun fetishist, and he's got a lineage of it, of course, and he called gun violence a fake problem. Tell the 600 people that were killed in the United States since June in mass murders, not the total people shot, because that number is much more higher, just the 600 people that actually died in mass murders since June, that's a fake problem. Opposes expanding background checks and red flag laws. Just a simple background check. Are you a nutcase? Are you a terrorist? Are you a convicted felon?
Are you inclined to commit suicide? Because I understand that almost half of the killings are as a result of suicide. I don't know. They should have been paid a little bit more attention to
and we'll get to that. Yeah. Supports arming teachers. This is the worst idea ever.
Yeah, make it safe at school.
My high school chemistry teacher used to come back from lunch drunk every fifth period. Bless you, Mr. Ludwig and Sam Curtis. You were drunks. They'd go off and have their 3 or 4 or 5 martini lunches, come back a little late, stagger in, and he would teach chemistry. But heaven forbid he was an armed teacher. And then I had some teachers that just sometimes they would just go on the you-know-what, and the last person you'd want to have is a gun as a teacher, right? Your kid. But no, really. We shouldn't make teachers into guards.
Just
or
like, we
armed
shouldn't turn police into social workers.
Right. It's not the
I
job.
agree. The idea of multiplying the use and access to guns is not, I think, smart.
You got one job, teach. You got one job, be a police officer. He advocated to abolish the federal agency that enforces gun laws. That's the ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. Why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Well, I suspect he's possibly got some stock in a gun or bullet sale.
Funny you should mention money.
He may even be involved in the new vending machines that sell bullets. I don't know.
Funny you should mention money, because old J.D. Vance took $500,000 from the NRA, the National Rifle Association, for his 2022 campaign Senate. His first campaign that he won, and he's only been in there, about 18 months. So, yeah, this guy's bought and paid for. And let's talk about, he was a never Trumper.
Well, Mark, when we spoke before, I said that some of the strongest, and I shouldn't use the word ammunition now since we're had an assassination attempt.
Go ahead.
But, okay, so some of the greatest
take your best shot.
Potential ammunition the Democrats can use are the words that the Republican members, the hierarchy, used when they described Trump's involvement in the insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the greatest enemies, now I won't say enemy because they're in the same camp all the time, but one of the greatest people observing and talking bad about Trump is J.D.
Yeah, he was.
His whole turnaround has been amazing. He came to Trump the same way some people come to Jesus. I mean, it's that quick. It's that insulting to people who have been paying attention to his rise. But once again, he is a junior con man learning from the best. The people that are being moved and motivated by Mr. Trump and now JD, and they're being conned. I mean, they are really being set up. If you don't believe that he's a great con man, ask the people that have done business with Mr. Trump. Ask people who have worked with Mr. Trump. Ask an ex-wife of Mr. Trump. Ask ex-girlfriends of Mr. Trump.
Oh, let's ask Melania. Oh, wait a minute. Where is she?
Well, yeah.
Haven't seen her the whole convention.
Yeah. That's.
Where is Melania?
Well, they're shooting at people around there, and you don't want Melania.
She's with her boyfriend.
Now, I'm not going to go there with you because I've not seen her with her boyfriend, and I'm from the South, and one of the things we say as we potentially accuse people is, did you touch her? Did you see her? And I didn't see her, and I don't think we have that kind of proof. And Donald is a charming guy. There's no doubt he's a charming guy. If you don't acknowledge that he is charming, charismatic, and one of the world's greatest storytellers that you've ever run into, but
that's not a positive thing. Storyteller means liar.
Well, it's storyteller in his case means liar.
Yeah.
Okay. But storytellers are very entertaining. I'd love to tell a story. I think you're good at it too. But the point that we're making is that we're not running for president. We're not talking about foreign affairs that are, when we talk, people listen and policy goes in place. We can afford to be a little off. We can afford to lose our thoughts. We can afford to forget each other's name as we're talking.
We can afford to fall asleep like Donald Trump did in the middle of Don Jr.'s speech last night.
I think that
Sleepy Don.
I think that Don probably knew his dad needed to get a little rest, and he phrased his speaking in a way that would allow his dad to get a little rest.
You know, the Republicans have been saying.
I think you should have a little more compassion, Mark.
No. 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 You know, they say we got to be bipartisan. It's like the guy that goes onto the playground and gives you nookie, and you go, ow, and they say, what are you screaming about? Well, that's what the Republican Party has done. They got nookie, and then when we cry out about it, they say, oh, or when we disparage their lies, when they disparage their grifting, when we say, no, that's not right, then they say, oh, you need to be more unified.
But they win as we spend time talking about their lack of, as opposed to spending time talking about the positive things that we either have seen done or know are in the plans to be done. I think we fall into the con man's trap of keeping him as the main subject on the table. And that is probably a mistake.
You know, after the break, we're going to talk about Project 2025 a little bit. But before the break, I'm going to prepare you after the break, Eric, and look up the video maybe on YouTube that's Lincoln Project 2025. And we're going to play the sound from that before we go to the break. But, I want to talk a little bit about this, if you give me just a minute to give an introduction. Yeah. You know, if you already haven't heard of the Republican group of moderates, the Republicans that don't like Donald Trump. And last night, we didn't see Melania, we didn't see Eric, we didn't see Barron. So, most of Donald's family we didn't see. Maybe we'll see him tonight. I don't know. But what we also didn't see was George Bush, President George Bush. Mm-hmm. We didn't see Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. We didn't see Dick Cheney.
But they're united. They were glued to the television, Mark. I'm sure.
Exactly. We didn't see Mitt
somebody
Romney.
Went in and may have actually.
We didn't see Mitt Romney.
Zip tied them to the chair.
We didn't see John Boehner, the former Speaker of the House. We didn't see Paul Ryan. They're all young men here that could have come there easily. We didn't see Mitch McConnell, who's the minority leader of the Republican Senate, of the Senate. We didn't see a lot of people, but this Lincoln Project's interesting. It's kind of like a combination between The Onion and some political stuff. But they see Donald Trump for who he is, a threat to our democracy. It helps people learn about Project 2025, by the way. This is kind of good. I'm going to talk about this after the break. You really, 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 really need to Google this. If you are a Trump supporter, this is a radical plan that eliminates Social Security, health care, job protections already in place for years, civil rights, voting rights, all kinds of the EPA, the National Oceanic and NOAA, just the weather group, because they don't like them because they're telling people there's global climate change going on. And it doesn't seem to, it doesn't want to roll back the clock maybe a few years. It wants to roll it back to about 100 years. I mean, that's how bad this is. It's really, really bad. And last night, the Republican Party, it was full of bad actors, but they were letting the little bits and pieces of Project 2025 out, which they do indeed support. You look like you want to say something.
Well, I do. I talk about the planet. I talk about the climate, and I want to never sound like I'm a conspiracy person. But for the Republican Party to be so hard against discussing the changes on the planet that are taking place right in front of God and everybody, they must have a secret hiding place. A secret, and as you talk about Project 25, let's analyze it and see it. Do they have a place that they think they can go after the winds from the tornadoes and hurricanes continue to increase in speed to the point of 250, 300 miles an hour?
They're just like
showing up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning unannounced, and being followed by tidal waves. Where are they going to go?
How many young kids have you met that think they're infallible, that they
How
they
many
can ride
that you have met that didn't think that? That's what young people are supposed to feel and think. Mm-hmm. How a 79-year-old man can be that oblivious to the truth. It can only be done from a position of con man and a position of somebody telling them that, this is going to be your legacy. We know you're getting ready to die, and if you do this right, at least your great-grandkids will be in good shape. But Donald doesn't seem to be the kind of guy that would give himself up for the betterment of anything or anybody. And that may sound cruel because he's a walking guy. I know. Well, I can't be sure. I've not seen his blood test. He may be a vampire from the future. He may be the Superman that they brought him in to be. I don't know. And I'm willing to say that I don't know, because at a certain point I stopped having interest in his glorification, his morality. When the ministers flipped over on their back, this guy's got to be the Antichrist. He's the one that has been able to flip the people who carried the cross. He's been able to flip them over to where they're now carrying the pitchfork. And how can you look at someone who turns turns Christians into people who believe that it's okay to do the kinds of things to other people? I mean, you're coming from another country. Instead of welcoming you,
Inhospitality. That's what they preach against in the Bible. Inhospitality.
Yes.
That's why the people were turned into a pillar of salt. If you're going that far and you want to be biblical, that truly is.
They now are turning against what the Bible says. When another man sees your wife with a child, the Bible says you should get rid of that. No, under no circumstances. I'm not one to overinterpret what women should do with their bodies. I do believe in God enough to say that if it's God's law, I'm willing to let God be the enforcer. And for all of those of us who want to see instant justice, I've got news for you. Only time lives to see.
We'll talk about that in Project 2025. If I can get it all out, we'll talk about it.
I'm going
to. I got a little bit. There's 900 pages. We're not going to get it all out. But, we're going to talk about that very thing. But, I want to stop. I want to pause here for a minute, because in all this falderall that's going on with Trump and the bandage, the maxi pad on his ear, with all that's going on, the Republican convention, and everybody's like, you got to be kidding me. And really, I have faith that people aren't believing all this. And if you started a drinking game, Wallace, take a shot every time there was a lie told.
Oh, no.
You couldn't survive it. You wouldn't survive it.
No.
But I got to tell you, we need to take a pause for a minute, because I learned of this. And, as I was growing up as a kid, I remember my parents watching it, and me as a kid watching it too. I enjoyed the show this guy used to put on. And it was funny. Deadpan comedian. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No.
Bob Newhart.
Okay.
Bob Newhart, from the Bob Newhart Show, and later on he had Newhart, and then he had another show too. And, he was from the producers of the Mary Tyler Moore Show and all that. And he used to be on Saturday night. I can remember my parents and grandparents sitting down watching the Lawrence Welk Show.
Okay.
And then they rolled right into Mary Tyler Moore, or it might have been Archie Bunker, All in the Family, and then Mary Tyler Moore, and then Bob Newhart, and all those shows rolled right out, one right after another on Saturdays back in the day.
Americana.
CBS. And, and the Jeffersons. The Jeffersons were on there too. And, this one was, you'd hear this theme, and you would say, wow, it's okay in the world. Things are going to be okay. And it was very enjoyable to watch Bob Newhart and the Bob Newhart Show. Sadly, today he passed away in Los Angeles at age 94. So going into this commercial, Eric, will you roll the Newhart theme? We're going to hear it one more time. Listen.
Hello?
Hello. And goodbye, Bob. We miss you already. Bob Newhart, the Bob Newhart Show, playing into the break. Let it roll. Bob Newhart, dead at the age of 94. We'll miss him. He was a leader, a good man, and They're not words. Sympathy and prayers and thoughts to his family and to a man who added inextricably, can't be defined what he added. He added so much to the world. Thanks, Bob Newhart.
Thanks, Bob.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
Eat bread, lose weight. That's right. Eat bread, lose weight. Hello, everybody. I'm Joseph from Joseph's Organic Bakery. We offer ancient grain bread from the Bible. That's right. Ancient grain bread from the Bible. We stone grind daily, ferment using sourdough, and bake that same day. Everything is then shipped fresh to our customers nationwide. So if you're interested in feeling good, improving your digestion, knocking down your blood pressure, and balancing your blood sugar, pick up the phone, give us a call, 954-541-4062, 954-541-4062, or you can order online, veganbakerymiami.com, veganbakerymiami.com.
Tahibo Tea Club's original Pure Pau de Arco Super Tea comes from the only tree in the world that fungus does not grow on. As a result, it naturally has antifungal, anti-infection, antiviral, antibacterial, anti-inflammation, and anti-parasite properties. So the tea is great for healthy people because it helps build the immune system, and it can be truly miraculous for someone fighting a potentially life-threatening disease due to an infection, diabetes, or cancer. The tea is also organic and naturally caffeine-free. A 1-pound package of tea is $49.95, which includes shipping. To order, please visit TahiboTeaClub.com. Tahibo is spelled T like Tom, A-H-E-E-B like boy, O, then continue with the word tea and then the word club. The complete website is TahiboTeaClub.com, or call us at 818-610-8088, Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. California time. That's 818-610-8088, TahiboTeaClub.com.
KCAA.
What is it? KCAA 1050 AM 106.5 as we remember Bob Newhart on this day, the day he passed away at age 94 in Los Angeles. Had several different illnesses that he kind of got over and got back. We want to also pray for our president who has COVID right now. We want to pray for him and make sure he has a speedy recovery, just like Democrats prayed for Donald Trump after he got shot. I would hope that that Republicans would say, we hope that Joe Biden gets better, right? Do you think they will?
There's two things that they need to concern themselves with about President Trump's ear. One, I heard you say, the maxi pad, and it reminded me of the fact that maybe it's that big. But they've just admitted that tampons and maxi pads have tremendous amounts of lead and other ill minerals in them that will make people ill. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a bother for most politicians or not, but if you're going to protect the president there, they may have to step forward and protect women first. Wouldn't that be something?
Wow, that would be something. And, I just really, really, really think we should review things a little bit here. And so I've got this spot from a group called the Lincoln Project. Now, the Lincoln Project are Republicans. They're not Democrats. They're moderate Republicans. They're not MAGA Republicans. And they realize the threat, the existential threat that Donald Trump poses. And so they want to make America aware again, not America great again. And so they have made these videos, and you can find them. and it's called Project 2025 on the internet. And so we're going to hear that right now. Go ahead,
Trump
Norm.
2024 Convention, brought to you by Project 2025. This week in the horrible city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you'll see the best of the Trump Project 2025 party. It's a bold vision for a bright future. With Trump Project 2025, you'll love how new tariffs will make everything more expensive and set off runaway inflation. We know you'll appreciate paying for the big tax cut our struggling billionaires need. When you seniors are done freeloading, check out Project 2025's plan to end Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. So get out of that nursing home bed and get back to work. And ladies, this convention has so much in store for you. With Project 2025, you'll learn how good you'll have it in the kitchen. Girls, if your marriage isn't working out, you'll need Project 2025's helpful tips to keep the romance alive, even if he's abusive, because we're getting rid of divorce. And if Mr. Wrong gets you pregnant, welcome to motherhood, because we've ended Roe v. Wade and we're going to criminalize birth control. And minorities, well, you didn't need those silly voting rights anyway. For you Jews, Muslims, Mormons, and other fake religions, you'll get a head start on learning America is a Christian nation. Project 2025 is Donald Trump's plan for your future, and it couldn't be any brighter.
Project 2025 Bright Future Guarantee applies to white evangelical Christian men only. Other conditions may apply. Offer not valid in a functioning republic.
Project 2025 by the Lincoln Project. Lots of other videos are kind of funny, but
That commercial is by the Lincoln Project. Project 2025 is not by them. They are pointing at it, aiming
you're
at
right.
it, letting
Did I
other people.
miscommunicate that? You're right.
Yeah, you did. It made it sound like, they did produce that commercial.
produced that
but
spot.
they did not produce the policies
sorry.
that are going to
You know
go
what
in
happens
effect.
sometimes, Wallace? You get somebody that bugs you so much. I got these people called radio effects, and they produce our apps. And sometimes they call, and they call, and they call, and call about things. And this time, just a minute ago, you might have heard the phone on the air. I'm trying to hang it up. The phone won't hang up. I hang it up, and then they darn well call back again. I have to text them I'm on the air. It's like, you guys don't get a hint, do you? Anyway, ticking me off.
Some of the time, it wouldn't hurt for the people on the other end of the radio to hear you talk to these guys, because you just talked about them. You might as well have talked to them and let them know they're on the air and send them a bill.
I am putting them on there. Anyway, let's talk about Project 2025. Let me get it out, Alan, okay?
All right, please.
Wallace. Project 2025 is not by the Lincoln Project. That spot was that we just played, telling you about Project 2025. Project 2025 is by the Heritage Foundation, but the architects of Project 2025 are also, and were the architects of the Trump administration. And Donald Trump had a lot of input in on this. And he says now, I had nothing to do with it. Of course, how do you know Donald Trump is lying? His lips are moving. But he does, and we even have him on video talking about it, and they should do this and they should do that. He's helping engineer and design it, and he did. It's a 900-page document.
I think his help in engineering and designing has to do with his offhand remarks, his ongoing prejudices, and
part of that's true.
But to say that these people, or to not say that they are puppeteers, is ignoring, I think, the power that they really
Well, the Heritage
have.
Foundation's not puppeteers. They're wealthy, like Elon Musk, corporateers, not puppeteers. But the Heritage Foundation wants to build a fascist nation. They don't believe in our democracy.
And they're
Played out.
pulling the strings that will motivate and move Donald Trump into doing what they want to do. Finally,
Well-
there on the horizon is someone nuts enough to follow, charismatic enough to carry our message, to carry our water, and arrogant enough to think it's his idea.
Well, let me get this out, okay? So Project 2025, designed by the Heritage Foundation with the architects of the Trump administration, is a 900-page document that, number one, gives Trump awesome executive power over all branches of, we have 3 branches: the courts, the Congress, which is the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and the Supreme Court, rather, and then the executive branch, which is, the presidency. And so they want to do that. But there's all kinds of things in this that are just incredible. One of them is to take our work week and turn it from a 40-hour work week to like a 100-hour work week, where somebody could work you 100 hours, not have to pay you overtime, not have to do anything, and not have to apologize for it.
How could America change its pattern and shadow so quickly to be able to make that happen unless we were no longer following the bureaucratic democracy steps or the bureaucratic steps of democracy? Is to put us under the authority of an authoritarian person, a dictator who could say, Mark, you're going to have to work 75 more hours a week, or we're going to have to talk to you in the closet, young man. And the only power to stop that would be a fair court system, which has already said, no, when Trump says you got to do it, you got to do it.
So then they also want to take away, things like OSHA and, not just any kind of worker safety program, because that costs the corporations money. That costs the corporations money.
Any kind of regulations.
Anything that costs money, they want to take away. Medicare, Social Security, Obamacare would be history.
But see, it's worse than things that actually cost money, because Social Security doesn't cost money. People put their money in. The money comes in. They use it to
I
go
understand
make
that.
money.
We all understand it. I'm just telling what's happening.
Yeah, but as we explain what's happening and explain it in the terminology that they use, we help push their agenda, because it sounds like it makes a little sense. Everybody should.
By the way,
no,
none of
we
this.
already paid for Social Security. There is nothing about Social Security that costs money,
and everybody knows that.
Well, no, everybody doesn't. Everybody doesn't, because most people, Mark, are out scuffling, trying, and
I'm trying to get to Project 25. So let me get to
go on
Project
and get to
25,
but once
because
again,
I'm trying to tell people about this.
Okay.
And we could go into Social Security for 15 minutes, or I could talk to Project 25.
Actually, all I'm saying is they're lying, and they constantly lie.
Absolutely.
And the more time we walk under the umbrella of the lie, the less
Wallace.
truth we get. Go ahead.
I know, Wallace. I love your passion, because you get going, and it's just like. But here is the deal: I am not fabricating this.
No.
I am not making this up. I am not posterizing. I'm not speculating. This is what's in there. Not even hidden. It is direct and to the point. This is what they want to do. On day one, this is the plan for the president, and this is what they want to do through executive powers.
And as I take the first day and become dictator, I can do all of that. Go ahead.
Right. Other things, of course, all abortions, I don't like abortion. Let me get you that straight. But all abortions. If there's a life in danger, the mother's life is in danger, okay. Especially if that fetus or that baby is not going to be viable. In cases early, safe, rare, and legal, that's my position about abortion. If, it's rape or incest, why should a woman be forced to carry that baby? Here's the deal on abortion, and you may agree with me or not. I think it's up to a woman and her God.
Totally. Because God is the ultimate judge, the ultimate enforcer. And if you say you're a Christian and believe in God,
all that's left for me to do.
If you say that, well, I'm here to do God's work, then I tell you what, go make a tree. Let me see you do some of the stuff that God does.
I'm going to file that away and use that one.
I mean, this thing
go
about
make a tree.
Pushing my opinion and attitude on your life and saying that God spoke to me in the middle of the night and told me to tell. Now, wait a minute. If God can speak to your dumb ass in the middle of the night, how come he can't just come talk to me and tell me what's up? That's my point. That's my point.
Any one of these points I bring up here, you're gonna, and I'm glad because
I'm
you're
not
right.
arguing against you.
I agree.
I'm totally in agreement with what you're saying.
We're in agreement. I'm trying to just make a list of the things that they're talking about doing. That teachers can be held liable for teaching such things as the scientific theory. The scientific theory.
Black studies, you go to jail.
That's controversial.
Yeah, you go to jail.
Yeah.
Black studies, come on.
Gender, or whatever,
Well, she got to go back and get another degree because that black studies crap, we can't work with that. I'm sorry.
Folks, I got to whisper in your ear for a second here.
Go ahead.
It's not a problem. This whole gender thing and kids changing their genders, it's not a problem.
Okay.
You know what? There's been maybe 2 cases in this whole area of just where we are.
Yes.
And guess what? The teachers and the parents and the kid worked it all out, worked through the process, worked whatever they needed to, yes, no, whatever, worked through it by themselves. They didn't need government, and they didn't need us to define what they needed to do, and we didn't need 100 oppressive laws down on top of our teachers to make them law enforcers. But they want to prosecute our teachers if they don't do certain things in the classroom. Jail them. Jail them. Who would want to... first of all, teaching doesn't pay that much in the first place. You take a lot of crapola in the second place. The third place, why would you want to do that if you're putting your life and your livelihood online? You maybe go into jail? I mean, you know what this is? Also, in Project 2025, they want to get rid of a lot of government workers, make new organizations, hire new younger people, they say, that have to bring a resume. And on the resume, it's not just that I graduated from college and I had this job and I had this job and I had this. You have to put on that resume demonstrated activism that you help their causes. In other words, you have to say, I picketed an abortion clinic. Or I did that.
A loyalty test.
And we'll get into that. Loyalty test. Loyalty test.
Loyalty to not the nation, not the Constitution, but to
the president.
Unless it's not Trump.
Nazi. Germany. Nazi.
You know, for years, and Mark, I'm sorry, but for years people went, well, how could Hitler come up and exist in the presence of all of these smart intellectual people? How could that have happened? Well, folks, here we are. We are intellectualizing a very smart, charismatic, anti-Christ individual who is blonde and blue-eyed, who fits the description of the perfect
redheaded, maybe.
Man. No.
Spinning green eyes. I don't know.
No.
Orange hair.
He is the model that Hitler was talking about.
Aryan. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, I have olive skin, but I don't. You have darker skin, so you don't
con man has to be acknowledged. Mm-hmm. If we keep laughing at, pointing at, describing in a negative way the people who have been captured by him, and that's the way I look at it. They have been kidnapped. They have been boonwiggled, bamboozled, and all of that stuff. And some of the people that I know who have fallen under his shadow are people that I like, people that I value, people whose opinions that I've said, wow, how did this occur?
Well, you know, I'm a politician. I'm a politician. You're a little bit in politics and, you know, all the stuff that you do in your community. So we pay attention a little bit more. And I like to think I'm intellectually curious. In other words, I read, I research. Sometimes I see things and I go, well, wait a minute. Let me look at this and see what's going on. I don't just listen to Fox News. I don't let myself be spoon-fed news. And because of that, I'm a little bit more alert and aware. But there are a lot of people like you and I that don't pay attention. They're only starting. You know, the presidential campaign used to kick off around, September 6th, Labor Day. Remember those days?
Yeah.
Those good old days? We didn't have to listen to all this.
For 2 years.
For 2 years.
3 years.
3 years. Part of the reason Trump got shot, and I'll tell you this right now. There's been 4 attempts on his life, by the way, this month. 4. But part of the reason, probably the break.
Oh, wait a minute. 4?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay,
let's accept what I'm saying.
Let's hurry up because I don't want to miss that.
Okay, so the part of the reason this happened, and I'm going to defend our Secret Service. This man has had 3, 4, 5 rallies a week, large amounts of people, because buses take these same people from spot to spot to spot. Yeah. They're Trump groupies. It's not a whole new universe of people at these rallies. It's the same old ones. In fact, they have little bragging rights shirts and things that say, I've been to a Trump rally 10 times or 20 times or whatever.
And they think that it's great, except that they're being charged.
Yeah.
They have to pay to go.
Yeah. and it's
another
pay to play.
fundraiser.
It's
Yeah.
another fundraiser.
Con
And so,
man.
yeah, and so here's the Secret Service. They got to set up at this farm they've never been to before, and they have to clear the area. They have to secure the area. They have to review the people going in there on the stage. They have to, search people, make sure they got to keep this guy secure. And much to Donald Trump's, much to Joe Biden's accolades, I'll have to say that after they heard of the Iran attempt to kill him, which is one of them, one happened in one. Much to his, accolades, I would say, he upped the Secret Service. There was more Secret Service, but here he is. Trump's in the great outdoors, flat land, buildings around him, and they got to secure that area. And they do it time after time after time after time, day after day after day after day. Eventually, there's going to be a breakdown because no other president, there's very few presidential candidates that have actually been a former president. I can't even really think of a lot in recent history, especially. I can't think of one. But here we have a former president that has to be protected, running for an office that he lost. This is the third time, by the way, he's run for president. Everybody.
But he's a legitimate candidate. And
2016,
and he does
2020,
get coverage,
2024.
Yeah.
Come on, it's getting boring. But anyway, so no wonder it broke down. And I don't know what the kid was, whether it was an attempted suicide by the kid, whether he was trying to get even with his father because his father was such a Trump God supporter, and he was trying to make a statement. He was a registered Republican. He was white. He doesn't fit the bill. He was a good kid in school, got good grades. So we don't know. We'll never know. It's not important. But, I just wanted to defend the Secret Service a little bit we just saw this one and this. That all happened in a nanosecond. And really, very fast.
The Secret Service, they do their job. And as far as this kid who pulled the trigger, everybody that's out there supporting guns, total support of guns. Anybody should have them. Folks, you guys did everything but pull the trigger. So as far as that goes,
Yeah,
Trump was involved.
absolutely.
It was almost if he had gotten killed, we'd respectfully ride the horse for a couple of weeks. But after that, we'd start talking about it as a suicide, because anybody that gets killed by guns who is in...
He knows he's going to get killed trying to do that.
Well, I mean, if you're telling me it's okay for people to have guns, you're telling me it's okay for somebody to shoot your ass.
So all these people...
It's that simple. If you tell me that all you got to do is fear for your life, well, maybe I don't fear that you're going to kill me right now, but you're going to do something to make my life miserable.
In all four attempts on his life this month, there's been four attempts on Trump's life. In all four attempts, there was an AR, assault rifle. Like I said, there's 15 million of them out there.
You can be 2 miles away.
Okay.
Why wouldn't you use something that'll let you be 2 miles away?
Anyway, I got to tell you that they made it possible. It was Trump's Supreme Court that just recently struck down the ban against bump stocks. Mm-hmm. They have fought everything. The Democrats camped out in the well of the House of Representatives 2 years back with John, I can't remember his name, big black community leader in the Congress, John Lewis, excuse me. I knew a trombone player named John Myers. It kept coming to my name. I'm having a cognitive moment. I do. I admit it. We all own it. We all have them.
But you're not all running for president.
But you know what?
And we aren't all acting as president.
Can Joe Biden do the job? Yep, he's doing a really darn good job. We'll talk about that in a second. We got a few more minutes. But the fact of the matter is that they made this possible. Exactly what you said.
Yeah.
They made this possible by fighting child safety locks, by fighting any kind of background checks. We had in front of them a law that said a kid would have to be 21 years of age to own or shoot a gun.
Listen, as convinced as I am that Trump was not involved in the conspiracy to shoot himself, doesn't mean that there were not other Republicans involved and had a plan to shoot him in the leg and the kid didn't shoot straight, or shoot him in the head and the kid didn't shoot straight. I am not impressed with the morality of the leadership of the Republican Party to the point of where I would doubt that they would do anything to secure power and maintain power. And Trump has planted that seed in them, and unfortunately, live or die, his seed is going to birth itself again and again in that Republican Party.
Okay.
And for us,
you wanted me to tell you about
please.
the gun attempts on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
The one we all know about is the one we put the maxi pad on his ear, okay? And that was in Pennsylvania. Then there was the Iran government, and they claim it's not, but yeah, they got him on it. The nation of Iran tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Interesting. Then there were 2 attempts. One, on the first day, a guy was caught with a concealed automatic rifle trying to get in to the Milwaukee Convention Center. And then there was another one in Milwaukee, two in Milwaukee, one in Pennsylvania, and one just never happened. There's 4 attempts on Donald Trump's life. He is getting really, really expensive to protect. Think about all these rallies he has. We have to protect him, and the taxpayers have to pay for the Secret Service and the police and everything else.
This is one of those times when a guy is probably more powerful dead than alive. Trump is a martyr?
No, I'm
just saying. I hear what you say, what you want. But if you are a big Republican who is a Project 25, okay, getting this guy dead at the height of where people, I mean, he's not said anything for a while. He's right there at the convention, and everybody's getting ready to love on him and everything. And for him to not be there, they sucked all the oxygen out of that little town when he fell behind that stand.
Okay.
Him as a martyr becomes a very powerful image for the Republican Party.
And we should thank our lucky stars that didn't
That's
happen.
my point.
Thank you, Wallace. Thank you, Wallace
appreciate
Allen.
you.
I'm going to end out the show here on a positive note. The positive note is this. First of all, we want to pray for everybody in the families of the people that died and give them our thoughts and prayers. And we want to give Trump our thoughts and prayers too. And then I also want to give our thoughts and prayers to our president of the United States right now, who is still our president, who, by the way, is still doing a good job and has a lot of capacity. Our president is sick with COVID right now. And so, the press, the corporate, fascist press propagandists, showing pictures of him getting sick, coming sick off the plane. If you've had COVID, you don't look too good either. So, why are you going to divine that? But I will tell you the positive things about Joe Biden. First of all, our unemployment rate dropped 2%. It's at 4%, has been there for the last 13 quarters rather, and it remains that way, the lowest since 1961. He has cut the budget deficit by $1.7 billion. All right. Dow Jones was 18-something% when he took office. It's now at 40%. Rip-roaring. We're set to outpace the economy of China within the next year. We have got all kinds of great things that Joe Biden has done as far as keeping our planet safe and environmental protections. Largest infrastructure bill passed since FDR. Joe Biden is doing a good job, has done a good job, is very capable. I've seen him up close and personal. I don't believe the propaganda of Chuck Todd, Christian Welker, all these guys like Haley Jackson or all these. They're just quick to jump on it. They want a sensationalized news story. Wallace, the sensationalized news story is really what they do. I couldn't even hear the Republican convention last night because they were giving so much commentary about Joe Biden. And I think that's the funny part about it, is that all of this coverage of Joe Biden is robbing the Republicans of their coverage too. Joe Wallace, it's been great to have you. Thank you so much.
Always.
We could go another 2 hours, and I could very easily do it. But thank you. We'll have same time, same place, same bat channel, and we'll be talking to you next week on Community Crossroads. I'm Mark Westwood on 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, the stations that leave no listener behind. NBC Radio.